you're listening.
I just don't care.
Look, if you're 300 pounds, then you are a monster, and I don't want you to talk.
Welcome back, listeners, to This Is a Work. My name is David Hensley. I am the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am here to introduce your host, David Two Doggz Hayes.
Thank you very much, David Hensley, and welcome to Rock Hill, South Carolina's only premier wrestling pay-per-view podcast. This is a work. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Chris, the Fashion Plate Barnes. Happy WrestleMania Day, brother.
Welcome to Night 5.
So, we have got a lot to talk about. We're going to try to cram 2 nights into just... We're going to try to get this done in under 2 hours. So, what do you say we get started? Okay, so... Night 1, match 1. It started raining. So we had the delay.
So match 1, WWE versus Weather. Weather won.
So yeah, we had to improv there for a little bit. A lot of people cutting promos. Even Bobby Lashley was put on the spot there, and he did about like you would expect him to.
That business hurt.
Yeah. Don't get me started on the Hurt business. That'll be a half hour right there.
But don't worry, they made new friends.
Oh, did they ever? Speaking of Bobby Lashley, we started this match. Drew walks out, gets a little misty-eyed as he's seeing a live crowd.
That was a recurring theme, and it was fun to watch, actually.
It was. I got a little upset with him there for a second. I was like, you stop that, dude. Everybody's looking at you, man.
No one could help it.
together.
No one could help it. It's understandable.
You can't get the title back if you're crying. Damn it. Son of a bitch. And then here comes Bobby Lashley, and he was crying for... That wasn't cry, that was him just sweating. And
He just has nothing to block it. It just rolls down.
bad start, man. Bad start. I don't know if it was the weather or what that threw those guys off.
I'm willing to blame the weather, because they're usually very sure-footed guys in the ring.
Yeah, they are. And, here lately, I've been singing Bobby Lashley's praises. He's been looking good. He did not... That was not the case WrestleMania Saturday night. He was slow. He was clumsy. It was very evident that he got lost in the match 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. I am willing to give this a Milli Vanilli and blame it on the rain, but sadly, McIntyre goes over. I think that was the not McIntyre. Lashley.
Very wrong.
Lashley.
That wasn't that long ago, Doggz.
I know. Bobby goes over. And I think that was the right call.
Decisively, yeah. I think so too. Obviously they're going to be setting up for a chase where McIntyre's coming back to win it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and if you look at your face heel roster right now, that's the only call to make.
It's curious though, because someone pointed out after WrestleMania, I think everybody but Bianca, all the champs are heel.
Seems to be, yeah. That's but I'll be honest, I like it that way because I like the face chasing the title, and just inches away from it, and they reach out and it just slips away from them.
I have a notable exception, but we'll get there.
Okay, all right. Bobby goes over. He retains his WWE title. I gave this a 2 Meltzer, lot to be desired. We did not start off well.
Well, we didn't start off well because WrestleMania was introduced by our host this year.
Oh, that's right. You want to talk about that for a second? Yeah, let's slow this down and talk about it for a little bit. It's no fun when he doesn't sell it.
I know.
Boo. We were trying to get under David Hensley's skin and see if we could slow this thing down a little bit.
That's your podcast.
Well, I don't want to now. All right.
See, either way, it works out for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can because I don't have to be up early in the morning. But no, well, we had best host Titus O'Neil come out.
Yeah. He was great. Mm-hmm. He was great. Got awesome. The crowd. It worked up.
Awesome, dude. Honestly, when he retires, he should have some sort of backstage presence on camera.
Well, I think that's all he has right now.
I mean, that's a shame though, because he looks like he's got so many good years left.
He's in fantastic shape. Yeah. He's a good-looking dude. Not so much on the promo, but boy, he brought it up.
Yeah,
and did a great job. How about his co-host?
Who was that again? Oh, right. Yeah. Racist Grandpa Hulk Hogan.
Who looks terrible, by the way.
I didn't think he looked terrible, but...
I mean, yes, it still looks like Hulk Hogan, but it's it looked like an old man that was masquerading as Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Which... turns out I'm not far off.
No, but I believe this is one of the best reasons for having a live crowd, which was they remembered, we're not in control of what this crowd does, because immediately the arena filled with boos.
Yeah.
For Hogan, and on
tried to pipe in some cheers.
Oh my God! Yeah, they're gonna miss that part of Thunderdome where they can't curate the reaction they want anymore.
I actually overheard a podcast where a WWE person, I'm not gonna name them,
right?
But said, it's true. Hogan did get a mixed reaction. And that was not a mixed reaction.
It was mixed in that they mixed in cheers to try and dilute the boos that the crowd was giving him.
Right.
Because they weren't having it.
No. I mean, and they were ready for that with Night 2. But we'll get there.
They were. Oh, yeah, they were. But, man, I mean, that was just marvelous. It was just, well, you wanted them back.
And there you go, kid. Is it worth it? Is the money you paid him worth it?
I mean, and I missed that part of having a crowd too, of just letting you know exactly what they think of things.
And see, and do you know you could have paid? Let me just pull somebody. How about Matt Cardona? You could have paid him a tenth of what you paid Hogan to go out there, and it would have lit the place on fire just to hear him go woo woo woo. I mean, I guarantee it. I don't think I'm wrong here.
No, you're probably right.
I think they would have popped so hard for that.
And that reaction speaks so much louder considering the rest of the night and Night 2. Whenever you didn't see Hogan, the crowd was very fair and charitable to the matches because they were just as happy to be in front of a crowd as the wrestlers were to have them.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, speaking of let's be fair, let's move into our second match, which was the women's tag team turmoil.
Yes.
I think the responsible thing to do here, the nice thing to do here, is to talk about this as little as possible and just move on. Would you agree with this?
So the first two teams out were... I honestly forget. It was...
It was Carmella and... oh, my God.
Who was with Carmella?
Oh, it was Billie Kay.
Billie Kay, that's right. Billie Kay got hired by Carmella to be her partner.
And Michael Cole...
No.
So hang on.
Okay.
Michael Cole said, this team was just thrown together at the last minute. And I was like, they all were thrown together at the last. Every single one of them. Even the Riot Squad they broke them up only to put them back together.
The lack of self-awareness to have Michael Cole say that out loud about almost every team, and not just the women's either, about their tag team division is just incredible. The other two teams was Lana and Naomi. Yes.
Yeah. Again, another thrown together team.
Yeah, but they're not looking bad together.
They don't.
I know you don't want to praise it.
I'm not. Well,
I'm just thinking it could work.
Okay. Yes, there were moments that didn't make me angry in this match, but I saw nothing, and I mean nothing good about. Okay, well, it was ultimately a mess. Just a goddamn mess. And look, I mean, man, you want to talk about a Sophie's choice? Like, let's be real for a minute. The Riot Squad is not a good tag team. I mean, let's just be real here. They're not a good tag team, right? I mean,
I don't 100% agree with that, but
I understand why you say that.
Right.
When you look at Natalya and Tamina,
we didn't even get
when you
to
look
them
at
yet.
Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, Carmella, Billie Kay, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax, yes, the team of the Riot Squad look pretty goddamn credible. I understand that. The fact is, the other teams are so bad. The only thing, I mean, honestly, the only thing I really have to say about this is congratulations to the women's tag team division. You are now on par with AEW. You have sunk to that level. Congratulations.
It's not great.
Living your blood magic.
Well, if you have anything you want to toss in, go ahead. But I'll make it short and sweet.
Please go ahead.
It started with Lana and Naomi versus Billie Kay and Carmella, and then it was joined by, you said, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, then the Riot Squad, and then was it the fifth and final team?
The fifth and final team were
Natalya and Tamina, and ultimately Natalya and Tamina took it.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about it. It was terrible. It was a Sophie's choice. It's like, do you really want one of these teams to represent the women in the tag team division?
Well, usually a Sophie's choice is a difficult one, and I can tell you with ease that it shouldn't have been Natalya and Tamina.
Oh, easily. But I mean, Lana and Naomi maybe.
That would have been fun. I think the Riot Squad would have put up a credible defense.
At this point, I will take the Riot Squad. Yes, I will sacrifice my other child for.
See, there's a proper Sophie's choice.
Yeah. So, yeah, but no, that's not what we got. We got Natalya and Tamina let's just quickly go over this go home. They had them beat. Natty is starting to go for the sharpshooter, and she stops. And she looks over, tags Tamina, and says, "Go to the top rope." And we did that so that Tamina can have her WrestleMania moment. So she gets one of, again, the worst Superfly splash ever. She's just not good at it. I'm sorry. She's no better at that than Natty is at the sharpshooter.
Right.
Well, whatever. They went over. I was very generous, I feel, and I gave this 1.5 Meltzers. And, I think it's maybe 1.5 Meltzers too many. Moving into our next match, we got Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Now we're going to start to pick up, and we're going to have ourselves some WrestleMania.
We sure did.
Man, what a great match. They turn... First of all, Rollins has not missed it. I know he's been back for a few weeks, but, I mean, not like this. he came out. I mean, he looks stellar. I mean, he looks like he's 10 years younger, and man, he just glides around that ring. And Cesaro, he can do no wrong at this point, because right now the WWE Universe has already said, hey, stop ignoring Cesaro. And I think that's why he got this win tonight. He pulled out all the stops, pulled out one of the best, oh God, I can't even remember what it was called, but it's basically, it's a torture rack with a giant swing.
It's the UFO.
The UFO. Thank you. And he, with no hands. And just absolutely incredible. I've seen him do it once before, and it's just positively amazing. Cesaro is tops. The only thing that I have to caution Cesaro on is, if we're going to put this man into a world title contention, we got to get him a manager, because he's not very good on the stick. So at this point, you have to play armchair booker, and who can manage him?
Maybe. I think he should be in the main event more. I don't necessarily think he needs to have the world title, though.
No, I mean, I don't. But I'll tell you what would be amazing, if we could armchair book this thing and take it all the way to, say, I don't know, Hell in the Cell. Or maybe just SummerSlam. And have Roman just dominating people all the way up till SummerSlam, and Cesaro is the man to beat him. Because that's your sympathetic baby face right there, because the crowd is clearly behind him. And to beat Roman right there probably on their second best pay-per-view.
That would also be neat, and I can get into more of this later. It would also be neat if they started showing any sort of crack in Roman's armor.
Right. Well,
He's
now
heavily defended by the plot armor right now.
I've got some insight on that, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I loved this match. This was the WrestleMania that we deserved. I gave it a solid 4 meltzers. I probably could have gone 4.5 on this. It was so good.
This match was incredible.
Yeah. Guys, if you haven't seen it, this is the match to watch. Moving into another one, we've got our tag team match for this is the Raw tag team title match.
Yep.
And we've got AJ Styles with Omos versus the New Day. First of all, let me say this. The New Day, they did so great about trying to put Omos over.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking forward to seeing Omos, work a little bit. I didn't really see that.
No. They just let him be. They just let him hit the high spots.
Yeah.
And call it a day.
But boy, did they! I mean, they acted like they were afraid of him, and when he finally tagged in, they all they all but did the cartoon eyeballs pop out. They worked with him. He tossed them around like rag dolls. They made him look as credible as they could, without him having to move too much.
Yeah.
It was very Great Khali-esque. So I was a little disappointed in that. I was looking forward to seeing what this man can do, because thus far, that's really all I've seen is him just toss people around. Even in UK, when he was there, all I did was see him toss people around, not really moving a lot.
Well, unless they're saving it for a special occasion, you might be looking at it.
Yeah. Well, that the other thing was, he was one of the ones that was sent back with Otis and Keith Lee to do big man training at the Performance Center. So I really wanted to see what kind of training we had. We had worked out with that, but what are you going to do? This was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. Good story that led along with it, even though it was quick. I gave this 3 Meltzers.
Yeah, all right.
Moving into our next one, we have... this one for me was a little left a little to be desired.
I don't know what you mean. It was better than I expected.
Oh, you talking about Strowman and Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was better than I expected, but I was looking for more. I wanted there to be...
I don't know. As flimsy as a feud this was, it seems like it got what it needed.
I suppose, but I understand why we did this. This was supposed to be Braun Strowman's, hey, we're going to let you back into the limelight now. Mm-hmm. Don't cause any more trouble. So this is how we're putting you over. Now, don't screw this up. That's what this match was supposed to be. And of course, you can't put anyone over properly without a McMahon present. So yeah, they go for a little while, and we had to do something a little bit different. So we have Braun tear the cage apart to grab Shane
and pull him back in. Yeah.
And then he drops him from the top of the cage.
Are we gonna not talk about how there was just a toolbox left in a random bag attached to the top of the cage?
Oh, we absolutely should. Yes, there were 4 bags at the top of the cage.
I saw 2. I didn't see all 4. But
yeah, because I thought they were pyro when I saw them.
Yeah, should have seen that coming because they normally remember to take those off, whatever they are. I'm assuming that is where they put tools when they're putting it together. Or
oh, absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah, you put a whole toolbox in there.
Yeah, sure.
A kendo stick
and
or
that
two.
feed bag they attach to the top. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a standard procedure. Yeah. Hornswoggle was in one of them. Yeah.
Well, I'd like, and it's obviously there for a spot because you don't leave them sitting up there before the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Right. It's shoddy workmanship is what it is. Yeah, so he gets him, he pulls him up, he tosses him from the top of the cage, he does a huge overbump, and it would have been real easy for Strowman just to climb down out of the cage and he wins.
Right.
Because you threw him off the top of the cage. Mm-hmm. But no. He took all his sweet time to climb down the cage, pick him back up, and give him the power slam.
Well, at this point, you have to make sure that Shane McMahon, the 50-something-year-old, stays down.
Absolutely.
When you are Braun Strowman.
We forgot. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about his Van Daminator, or well, I guess
that's the Van Terminator.
Yes, I know. Well, actually, technically, we're both wrong because it's called the Coast to Coast for Shane McMahon.
Because he stole it from Rob Van Dam, yes.
Yeah, he didn't quite make it to the other coast. He actually only...
He made it to, like, Nevada.
I would have said Colorado, but maybe the tip of his toes got to Reno, I suppose. But, this needs to be the last thing we see of Shane. We don't need this anymore.
I keep asking every time, is tonight the night we watch him die? I mean,
yeah,
he's aiming for it, apparently.
Well, those bumps are getting a little smaller. I don't know if you noticed that or not, because he didn't do anything too dynamic. He took an over bump. It's pretty simple.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it was 15 feet up, but
right.
That's a far cry from the Titantron, if you know. It's...
Well, no, the last one he did was with Miz when he took that dive into the crash pads.
Yeah, and that was about 20, maybe 25 feet. So, I think we're dropping as the age goes up.
Well, I think it's important to point out that most men his age don't do that ever.
What? Come on.
He's in he's in the top 1% of that too.
I am 46 years old.
Right.
And I throw myself off of my house at least once a Sunday.
But you're not 50-something years old, so you're not in that same area. It's way safer for you. You're younger.
Touche. That's why I gave this match a 3.
That's why I can tell you at 37, you definitely are still made of rubber at this point. No aches, no pains.
I tell my wife that all the time. And that's why this match has a 3 Meltzer. Braun Strowman goes over, and hopefully he's going to behave himself and
Wait,
not
what did
piss.
he get in trouble for?
Well, he had been showing up late for a lot of appearances. There was, I think I could get this wrong. This may not be 100%, but I believe there was a wellness policy violation. I think there was also some backstage drama that happened with McMahon. And I think we're just starting to get over this now. So, hopefully he'll behave himself and we can push him back to where he needs to be. Now, moving into our next match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I owe some people an apology here. We have Damian Priest with his tag team partner, Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Versus Miz and Morrison.
All right.
I was expecting this to be a shit show. I was expecting to go into the negatives on this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong. I love it when people do that. That self-aggrandizing thing. That's why I'm doing it now.
Look how great I am for recognizing that I was wrong about something. Just this one thing, mind you.
Yeah. And here we are. And here I am admitting, like the man that I am, that I was a little bit wrong.
Reward, please. No, it was a good match. It was a good match, and it was in no small part to having a whole bunch of great talent in the ring taking care of things. And by all accounts, but from what I heard, Bad Bunny took this very seriously.
That's what I've been hearing.
And trained like hell, and it showed in the ring.
He did. And you know, Miz and Morrison, they took great care of him.
Yeah.
He was the Robert Gibson in this whole thing. He took all the heat. Mm-hmm. They trounced him for a good 10 minutes. And he got some comebacks. He got some false hopes in there. And Damian Priest was fantastic. Got one of the coolest entrances of the night.
Yes, he did.
Oh, my God. He came in looking like a superstar.
Yeah, and God, Bunny took some stiff shots, didn't he?
He really did.
He clearly said, "Don't take it easy on me."
Yeah, which makes me wonder about there's a couple more rappers that are out there that have been in the Twittersphere that are talking shit, basically. I believe Soulja Boy is one of them.
I was hoping that was going to come up. Yeah, no, that man would get himself wrecked.
I'm sorry to say this is Old Man Two Dogs talking. Gotta admit it, don't know a lot about Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy was previously, most recently in the news for slapping his name on what is essentially a Chinese, well, maybe not definitively Chinese, but usually it's out of China, a bootleg game system. That's one of those ones that has like the ROMs stolen from like a bunch of classic games and preloaded into them.
Yeah.
And then he was like, it's like he attached his name to that, and very quickly it was slapped with like a cease and desist because it had like the old NES, SNES catalog on it.
What game was this?
It was, I don't remember what he called it, but it was a line of just those generic type of like consoles that's like, it's like, hey, you get this and you get like 8,000 games on it. And it's like, cause it's like,
right
cause like I said, they take the
yeah.
ROMs from like NES, SNES, Sega, all those, they'd be preload them on there.
Yeah.
They add a bunch that are of dubious quality. And it's like you can get it fairly cheap, and it's like he for some reason decided to endorse one and try and sell it.
Well, he sounds like a delight.
If you want to talk about the level of smart, he was almost, I mean, there was a chance he could have gotten arrested and charged for that.
Yeah, I hear he's been feuding with Orton.
Oh yeah,
I
I saw some of the exchanges there.
I can't tell if just I've looked at some of the exchanges. I don't want to read them back, but I can't tell if they're working or not. So
well, I think. Well, I mean,
I noticed Little Bow Wow had something to say in the midst of not Little Bow Wow. He's just Bow Wow now.
It's true. But sorry. I'm just remembering how serious he was about that. About
how serious can you possibly be if your name is Bow Wow?
He was just like he had grown up. He was no longer a kid. He dropped the Lil from his name. He was just Mr. Bow Wow to you, sir.
Mr. Wow.
But I'm pretty sure Soulja Boy was serious, and Orton was just trash talking back because of course he's going to defend his profession.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm sure he did not take Soulja Boy seriously at all.
I can't imagine not, because I had to look the guy up, and he looks like he's $135. If he's wet.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's kind of tall, and I don't see a ton of meat on his bones.
He's lanky. He's lanky.
So I feel like he might be barking up the wrong tree with Orton, or anybody from the WWE. But anyway, so we have a really good match with these two. I gave this 2.5. I would have rather seen Damian Priest come out in a singles match. I would rather he debut on his own.
Yeah,
but especially for WrestleMania. But you got to tag it,
But think of it this way: Bad Bunny's brought a lot of the mainstream press.
He absolutely has. You're right,
and it gets Damian Priest in a high-profile position because he's tagging with Bad Bunny.
Sure. I hope we've seen the end of this, though. I hope this is done now.
I mean, by all accounts, that commercial they aired on the second night pretty much told us, that was Bad Bunny's, big thing, and he's out. So
that's true. That's Triple H gave him a suitcase with a microphone,
with a skull mic on it.
Yeah, and go do what you really do.
And again, really push the lore based between Bad Bunny's entrance and that little epilogue vignette that Bad Bunny rides on top of the 18-wheeler that has all his tour gear in it.
Yeah, the last person that I saw do that was Teen Wolf from the 1980s.
Right, but he has a handlebar that comes out of the top of it like a scooter, so he holds onto that while he tries. It can't be safe though.
It's got to be safer than Teen Wolf. He just did a handstand and just drove around.
But he's a werewolf. He has powers.
That's a good point. He's a Bad Bunny. I mean, Bad Bunny, werewolf. What's really the difference?
One's a bunny, one's a wolf.
Nah.
Okay. Well, it was a good match.
It was a good match. And 2.5.
I think initially I was less than enthused because it was more of an old man moment. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. But watching the match, he turned it around, at least from my opinion.
Yeah, and he gets props. He gets respect from the universe. He also gets respect from This Is a Work podcast. Yeah. So, and what else do you want, really? So going into our main event for night 1, yes, we're already there. We have Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Barnes?
I had worries just because it's like I know Sasha can be hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I had no doubt she would be trying.
Yeah.
And she did. She brought it. And Bianca came out, and they were both excellent, I think.
Again, it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong. And
well, let's give it up for Doggz, shall we?
No, I didn't think that this had any push on it. Mm-hmm. They really, the story was not delivered well at all.
No, the lead up was weak and weird.
But boy, did they turn it up in the ring. Now, there's a lot of people that say that this is bullshit, that Bianca has no business taking the title.
Based on what?
based on her just now getting to NXT, coming from NXT, which I call bullshit on that. She's been there a year.
Yeah.
Now, we've had some shit to deal with, but
Yeah.
they're basing this on her experience, which look, this is wrestling.
What the hell does that mean? NXT is not a junior league.
It's not. It hasn't been.
There are weird people who think of it that way, but it's not. It's another division.
Maybe at one point it might have been.
Right.
But it is not. If you look at the ratings, they're on par with Raw and SmackDown, sometimes beating them.
You can't call it a junior league if Charlotte and Finn Balor go back to it and are working excellent matches down.
Bam. And I'll be honest, I respect the titles more in NXT than I do in on the main roster. They make them mean something down there. Mm-hmm. Until tonight, by God, I have this may have been Sasha Banks' best night ever.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, did she bring her A game? And Bianca brought hers, and Jesus Christ, what a night!
They pulled out all the stops.
There was, just so many beautiful spots that happened.
Absolutely, and this match perfectly illustrates that on a platform like WrestleMania, it does not matter if you win or lose. If your match is that good, that's all that matters.
Right, and God, man, this was, I dare say, night one. These two were the MVPs of night one, and they main evented, and it was for the prize. I mean, oh God, what else do you want for WrestleMania? Let's talk about that hair whip.
Holy crap, the sound it made when it...
I think that was piped in.
See, I don't think it was, especially not after seeing the welt that rose on Sasha Banks' side.
I mean, look, if somebody can...
That is the sound a proper whip makes.
It was... It's what made me think that was piped in.
See, I disagree because Bianca's hair is so finely braided. Mm-hmm. I've been hit with things that I've been like towel whipped before. It sounds kind of close to that, and her stings terribly without it being a hair whip.
I agree, and this is the reason that I cannot argue this with you.
Right.
The WWE have never timed anything this perfectly.
Oh, no, they could not have timed that.
I mean,
no.
And that welt that appeared to draw blood. Now I've seen Belair whip people before, and they would have like scratches and stuff. I've seen, but I've never seen a laceration, which is what that looked like.
It was. I could not tell if there was blood, but it was an instant bruise on the side of the Sasha. Like instant. And man, it's like I just say Bianca owes Sasha big time for agreeing to that spot.
Well, the hair was a major player in this match. It was used several times. There was a tug of war with it.
Yeah.
There was she got choked with it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. There was a choke spot, wasn't there? I was like, how could there not be?
Oh yeah, this was the hair was used a lot, but took nothing away from the match.
No,
I gave this match 4.5 Meltzers, and we have ourselves a new SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yes, we do.
In Bianca Belair. Good for her. Mm-hmm. And way to end night one.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not gonna give this whole thing a rating. I think we're gonna wait till we get to the very end.
Sure.
So let's move directly into night two. Now, first match, night two. Once again, we start out kind of rocky.
Well, we started with Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan in pirate costumes,
and the boys in the trucks were ready for that crowd this time. Mm-hmm. Immediately,
well, they learned a lesson.
In cheers.
They also learned a lesson because Hogan showed up at, I think, a couple more times on night one, because they had to do the backstage skits with Bailey, wanting to be host.
Right.
Which was great.
Which Bailey did a great job. She's getting better, man.
She is.
I think what the problem here is, if you let Bailey on her own just do her thing and be Bailey, then I think we can do something. It's when you give her a script.
I think that here's the problem I think WWE has in general. I think they can script it, but they are not doing enough to make sure it sounds natural coming out of anybody's mouths.
That's very true.
Like they can find a groove and script it if they understand how it's going to work coming out of like a person's mouth with their personality. Because the audience can smell bullshit.
Right. Now, David Hensley, you have been more vocal than either of us about Bailey. What say you on Bailey's performance for the WrestleMania nights?
It was brief enough that I couldn't tell you anything about it, honestly. Like, it didn't bug me. So there you go.
Okay.
I didn't hate it.
Well, there you go. He doesn't remember, ladies and gentlemen. And if that is not a tribute to her professionalism.
He doesn't remember enough to hate her.
Well, look, I think you made the point a long time ago that heel Bailey just didn't work. Part of her charm was how bubbly and cute she was when she was a face.
True.
And I think that has been the problem, is trying to get her to ham it up, to evil it up as a heel was not working for her. So coming out there and putting that bubbly personality back on and going for those comedic bits really did a lot to make her more charming and more likable.
Yeah.
They finally realized that if she's being a heel, the best thing to counter her cheerful bubbliness would be to turn that into an annoyingness.
Yeah, let's harness this annoyingness and let's make it work for us. Let's make lemonade, basically.
Right. It's like Foley said in his book when he was talking about going heel. He's like, I think it was Cactus Jack in ECW, he talks about he took everything that people loved about him as Cactus Jack as a face and was like, well, how can I turn this around and make people hate it?
Right.
What can I change around or take out and make people hate about it?
Right.
And that's what you have to do.
And speaking of Cactus Jack, that brings us to our first match.
Well, hold on one second. We didn't talk about the fact that Hogan in his pirate outfit used the hard R.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my dumb joke from night 2, and I wanted to use it again.
Well, all your jokes can't be winners, but
that one certainly was.
It was a winner that night.
A joke for one is still a joke, so fuck off. But yeah, Bailey came out and interrupted that segment too, which was great. And
and I think she's on her way, man.
Yeah.
Especially with the show that she's doing, Ding Dong Hello.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. She should be that kind of Jericho type of jerk ass.
Yeah, that works.
High
that
energy
works.
and grating.
But Aunt Bailey, that's not. Let's leave that by the wayside.
But we did go into the first match as you tried to lead into. I'm sorry.
So it's okay. We have Randy Orton coming out dressed in white.
There was a lot of white, surprisingly.
A lot of white that night. In the both nights there was.
True.
Comes out, looks really great. And then we have the Titantron. We have Alexa Bliss up there. The Fiend is behind her, all burnt up and everything. And then he magically regenerates to a freshly whiter than white Fiend who looks like he's dropped about 50 pounds.
He has, yeah. There was actually, we honestly speculated, was it him? Was it Bray in the costume? I'm pretty sure it was, looking at him on Raw.
Boy, I realize you've told me something different. Yeah. I still don't know. And I'll tell you, just never seen Bray move that quick. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I mean, when you shed about that much weight, I mean, you can move faster.
I suppose so.
You're right. There was like, he's never done that quickly before, and it was like there was some. So New Fiend gets loaded into a Jack in the Box.
Yeah. And here comes Alexa Bliss down to the Firefly Funhouse music. And she walks right down to what Michael Cole called a box-like structure.
Which, if you're not sure, that is a box.
Yeah, I did a deep dive on that. Turns out you're right, Barnes. It is a box.
It's technical insider stuff, but it's yeah.
Yeah. Boy, I'm glad he's here. God.
Oh, Twitter roasted him for that one.
And that's not the last time we'll hear from Michael Cole this evening, folks. And then out of the box comes a new, whiter than white Fiend with a brand new mask.
So that's what was in the box.
Yeah. And he just stands there. And then all of a sudden, boom, he jumps into action. And he is moving fast, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's, and he's acting like the regular Fiend. He's no selling. And, they're working. They're having a regular wrestling match. Mm-hmm. Wasn't really expecting that, but yeah, sure. Well, towards the end of the match, the Fiend hits the mandible claw, goes for Sister Abigail, and poof, Alexa Bliss has done a costume change.
Well, the lights went out briefly? Did the lights?
I think they did. Yeah.
Out and then back on, and yeah, Alexa's sitting.
And she's sitting on top of that box-like structure, and she is bleeding the black blood of the earth, very much like the Ultimate Warrior did when he was feuding with Papa Shango. And it's just pouring into her eyes, and it looks incredibly creepy. It gets a holy shit chant from the crowd.
Yeah, it does.
Well, he drops Orton, reaches out for her, she reaches out for him, and it's just enough of a distraction for Orton to get back up, spin him around, hit the RKO, and get a 3 count.
Yeah.
1 RKO.
Yes.
3 count. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
It is.
I know you were waiting on that. No, that's it.
Well, Orton wins and gets the hell out of Dodge, and then
the lights go out and everybody's gone.
Well, yeah. Well, it stands up. Well, the Fiend faces down after Alexa, and then the lights go out, and when it comes back up, everyone is gone.
And that's it. That's all. You leave us with a freaking cliffhanger.
It wasn't bad, but yeah, that was the problem. My main problem with the match was, I believe I stared at that for a second and went, tune into Raw tomorrow. It's like, that's what it was. It's like, you don't do that on WrestleMania.
No.
You do. Like any other pay-per-view, fine, whatever. But you don't do that on WrestleMania.
And just as a side note, it's how many times if the Fiend is a monster and can regenerate himself, why is he losing ever? How has he pissed? Is he showing so much creativity that he's made the creative department angry? And they just said, fuck him. Let's just job him every chance we get.
Well, they don't job him every chance they get.
Well, we haven't seen him in, how long's it been?
It was TLC in December.
Oh, okay. There you go. So he was set on fire in December, so we haven't seen him for 4 months. Which, I don't know, getting set on fire, that's a pretty big job that you just did there.
Well, again, I think with whatever story they're trying to pull, it required it.
Well, God, I certainly hope there's a good payoff for it, because I gotta tell you, it looks like they're just trying to bury him. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see where this is going between
Alexa Bliss and
quote unquote betraying the Fiend.
Right. Which now is he face now?
I don't know. I mean, I showed you the segment, the Firefly Funhouse segment from Raw, and it's like, it's hard to say. He's not... I don't think he's directly a heel anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I think he's becoming like a more of a force to be reckoned with. Maybe not necessarily evil.
Right.
It's hard to say because Alexa seems to be taking the heel role and saying that she never needed. Turns out she doesn't need the darkness, so she stabbed him in the back essentially.
Right. And I've also heard a rumor that Nikki Cross is going to be her partner in crime. I don't know. Something.
Sure. I'm down with it.
So maybe I want to see it
again. As like, yeah, they should have pulled that weird to be continued on Raw.
Yeah,
and not WrestleMania.
Not WrestleMania. If anything, put him with somebody else. Like have him. You know what would have been great? Have Orton win the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal,
right?
And then have the Fiend, let's do some weird angle there.
Right.
After the match is over. Something like that. I don't know.
But, I mean, the focus is now between the Fiend and Alexa Bliss because Randy Orton on Raw was like, now I want a title shot.
Right. Yeah.
Look, Doggz, there can just be one unbeatable monster that we're all supposed to hate, and it's Roman Reigns.
And we're getting there. Speaking of awful, that brings us to the tag team match. Oh man, and I used the metaphor of Sophie's Choice before. We got another Sophie's Choice.
Really, because the choice I'd love to make is rocks fall, everyone dies.
So, who do you pull for? Do you want Shayna and Nia to hold these straps, or do you want to pass those belts on to Natalya and Tamina? What do you do? I mean,
do you want to get shot once or twice?
I mean, yeah, that's the... How have they mopped themselves into this horrible corner to where this is the only thing they have going? I mean, don't get me wrong. All of the tag teams, like globally, all of your tag teams need work. I can only think of maybe 3 globally that are good tag teams that represent what a tag team should be. And none of them are in WWE. Mm-hmm. So, now, I said all that. However, this was not as bad a match as I thought it was going to be. Now, it wasn't great, but Shayna brought it. Natalya did surprisingly well. And Tamina did pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Now, Nia's Nia. You're going to get what you pay for with that. Excuse me. But she ends up going outside the ring. I believe that they did some work out there, and Nia ends up staying outside the ring waiting for her big spot. And what was it? Shayna comes in and starts and puts her in her submission hold. Thank you. I can never remember the name because I always mispronounce it. Nia comes in, hits that, rolls her over, and now Nia retain their belts.
Well, Natalya passed out from the Kirifuda.
Was it? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought that...
I think that sequence happened before it.
That's right. I'm sorry. I got that backwards. I apologize. Yeah. It was a long time ago.
For a brief moment in the match, they tried to make the emotional center of it the fact that Tamina and Nia used to tag and now they were facing each other.
Yeah, there was that as well. And that's...
and I was like, whatever.
And the thing about it is, they showed you right off the bat. Nobody cared.
No.
The crowd was not into this match. Even though the match wasn't bad, It wasn't very good, but it wasn't the worst thing that we have seen in WrestleMania.
Certainly not.
It is for that reason Shania retaining their belts, and I will give this 2 Meltzers. So,
all right.
Yeah. It's I'm again, I think I'm being really generous, but everybody but Nia did a pretty decent job.
Well, enough of that. Let's move on to good wrestling.
Yes, let's. This is the one I've been wanting to talk about.
Much like Cesaro and Rollins, Night 2 had this one, which was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yes, with special guest. Is it Logan Paul or Paul Logan?
It's Logan Paul.
I wouldn't know this guy if I was kicking him.
The less you know, the better.
It's I've heard a few things about him. I don't. He's not the kind of guy I would drink with in a bar.
Well, much like Bad Bunny, they had their celebrities squared away very nicely, because much like Bad Bunny had taken it very seriously and made sure that he was prepared and everything, they did the right thing with Logan Paul and sat him at ringside
and kept him away. Now, when he was coming out, he was getting booed.
He was.
Nobody was cheering for the guy. Mm-hmm. He looked a little shocked that he was getting booed. Really?
Oh, wrestling fans are fickle, and if they don't like you intruding on their space, they let you know.
Well, does anybody? Does he have fans?
Yes.
Really?
They're all younger children for the most part.
I got a million questions. I don't.
You're not going to get any satisfying answers. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, we'll just move right on past that one. So the match was superb.
Yes.
Fun stuff. Great angles. What was it that? Oh yes, they did a Sami Zayn does a Falcon Arrow, and once again, the commentator to end all commentators, Michael Cole, called it a Blue Thunder Bomb. Jesus Christ! Can we get him some pills so that he could just drift off into a nice coma?
I was reminded of this, by the way. A lot of moves on the ring apron this year.
Lots.
Yes.
So many.
And boy, was this match a match of we are good friends and I trust you, because what was it? Zayn put Owens into the turnbuckle twice with something that was really nasty.
That was the buckle bomb.
Yeah, Rollins did one too, I think.
Yeah, he did, but it wasn't. It was like a snapmare buckle bomb,
something like that.
And man, it was devastating. Those are always cringeworthy because you just, oh man, you kind of close your eyes a little bit to watch it because you just see too much happening wrong there.
Again, it was just like that is trust. That was just trust between those two men.
Yeah, but again, and you can always tell that these guys are friends because there's just friends that know each other and are in sync. Just you can smell it in the air. They just bounce back and forth. They're reading each other's thoughts, and they're so in sync. And the match showed it. Man, what a great match. Kevin Owens goes over. Sami Zayn gets mad because Logan Paul goes over and raises Kevin Owens' hand, and he was like, yeah, you're supposed to be my guest.
He tries to steal some of that shine. Sammy gets mad about it. It's funny because Logan Paul is like, hey, you're a loser, kiss off, and it's almost like you can kind of see Kevin get offended on Sammy's behalf, despite everything. It's like, you don't talk to my friend that way.
Yeah, and so he, they go. What was it? Logan Paul gives him a
handshake.
Yeah,
and Kevin just looks at his hand like, oh,
and he raises his hand, and he's like, staring at his hand.
he raises his hand. He just stares at his forearm like, oh,
and
God.
you felt it.
Oh,
You knew
God,
what was
touched
coming.
Me. It's like, oh, God, it touched me. And he just starts looking at Logan.
The crowd felt
Oh,
it.
I was like,
Everybody knew what was about to happen.
there was just a huge smile on my
And-
face. He's going to do it.
Boom. Stunner. Not a stone cold stunner, Cole. Just a stunner. That's what it is.
Yeah.
God, I hate him so much. Cole, not Kevin Owens. Man, that match was so much fun. That's another one for night 2. You want to watch one and you want to have a good time. You want to lean back in your chair and enjoy some
100%.
wrestling. That's your one. Man, so much good stuff. I gave this a 4 Meltzers. Moving into our next one, we have Sheamus versus Matt Riddle.
No, Riddle.
Matt Riddle.
Nope, Riddle.
Matt Riddle. I'm never going to do that. Never going to do that.
Well, you're wrong.
No, I don't. Look, they're going to take his name away. You know what? I don't even care this much about Matt Riddle to argue it. I hate his gimmick so much. You know what? Fine, it is Riddle. Yes. Fine. I'm just going to call him Rid, and let's take half that away. So Sheamus versus Rid, and for the North American Championship.
U.S. title.
Is it the U.S. title?
Yes.
Oh,
NXT is North America.
God damn, what's wrong with me tonight? Jesus Christ. All these secondary titles are the same. That's why we got to combine them.
No,
we need to have a match
they are distinctly
unification.
shaped different. I can tell you that much.
They mean the same. Nothing.
Well, no. U.S. means U.S. North America covers all of the nations of North America.
What about the Intercontinental?
Intercontinental means from continent to continent, which means, they're the champion between,
So it's a better one than the other two.
Kind of, yeah. That means you're basically you can hop from continent to continent and still claim championship rights.
Yeah, so that's the one we need to we just need to unify, and everybody's a Intercontinental champion now. That's the way we're going to do this.
Oh, I don't know if it works that way.
Yeah, that's the way it works. I'm writing Vince. We'll let him know how it's going down.
They'll do another angle where two people are holding it at the same time somehow.
God damn, they did do that a lot,
They
didn't they?
loved it.
So now, but the belt does have some meaning now, because now we do have a new U.S. champion, and it is Sheamus. And
Sheamus has a history with that, like Miz has with the world title. Apparently, it's been about 10 years between his last reign and this one with the U.S. title.
But you know what? The match made me care about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when he got beat handedly in the ring,
yes,
which we need to talk about that. That go home spot, holy God! First of all, as much as I don't like Riddle's gimmick, he was amazing.
Oh no, he's great in the ring, and the two of them lit that place up.
Wow! And that go home spot where he was going for his what the hell was he going for? Was he? It was like supposed to be a jumping knee, and he ran into the brogue kick.
Yeah. He was performing. Now Wikipedia says a moonsault, so maybe that was it.
That's what it was. It was the moonsault. It was so well timed.
Yeah.
Except for one minor incident, ran into that brogue kick and knocked a tooth, or a couple of tooths.
I don't know if a tooth actually came out, but his mouth was busted open.
Yeah, he knocked him silly,
to the point where Riddle essentially broke character. He was like angry.
Yeah,
he was like feeling inside his mouth. He was like had a grimace on his face as he was as he was spitting the blood out.
Yeah, and I'll say something else about Sheamus that night. He has him up in the. He was going to deliver the Irish curse.
Yeah.
From the top rope.
Oh, right. He saved
realized that. Oh my God, I don't have him.
Yeah.
And I'm about to lose my balance.
And he jumped off that top turnbuckle and repositioned himself and got it off.
Did it on the ground.
Yep.
That's what a pro does.
Exactly.
God bless and preserve Sheamus for that. That's how a man does it.
And I will say this about Riddle. It's like. I don't know. I guess technically Riddle was the face coming into this match, but I really wanted the Irishman to beat the California surfer bro.
Yeah.
For the U.S. title.
Yeah, I always want the Irishman to beat Spicoli. Yeah.
And that's not really talking smack about his character. Riddle has tweeted out pictures
Yeah.
of Spicoli basically saying this is my gimmick. So
Yeah. I hate your gimmick.
well, now it's Spicoli plus Napoleon Dynamite, the way he goes on about
A
his
little
scooter.
bit. Yeah, and him trying to sell business. You know what you should do? You should that ridiculous segment with Kali.
And RVD.
And RVD the other night. You know what you should do? You should start a giant store and sell giant stuff. You sell giant gloves and giant toilets.
Is it any wonder that the start of that the prelude to this match, the lead up to it, was Sheamus having to listen to that and then taking the scooter and hitting him over the head with it?
Yeah. And see, thank you.
I don't think that's an unreasonable reaction when the weird kid comes up and starts talking about his Pokemon cards.
That reminds me of a story. I'm not going to tell you on the air, but I wanted to hit a kid with a shovel one time. We'll tell you about it.
I understand because I have this uncanny ability growing up where, because I was quiet and would tended to be by myself, and that seemed to attract people who just like to talk, and I'm just like, I want you to stop, but I don't know how to speak up and say it.
I was a landscaper.
Yeah.
And I was working for this rich kid, and his son comes out and just kept walking around. He's like, hey, how deep are you going to dig that hole? Blah, blah, blah. Just getting in our way, and all of us are ignoring him, just straight up. And we figure, okay, this kid's going to get the hint eventually. And he said he keeps coming up to us. Hey, you want a pickle? And it's just,
was he an Adam Sandler character?
He just he just kept offering us random stuff. He's like, how about jelly beans? I like jelly beans.
No, thank you, Mr. Madison.
And yes, and I had this shovel in my hand, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I went blank for a second, and I just envisioned me just going spang, pickles go flying.
You're just talking to the cops, like, I don't know. I just woke up and he was down and the shovel was broken, and
and then the chase is on. So this was a fun match. Sheamus is our new U.S. champion, and now we have a 3 Meltzer for this match.
Which is why I think my statistic was off about all the champions except for Bianca being heel. I don't think Sheamus is a heel.
I don't either. I support
the whole setup to this is like, again, it's like, I don't know if I've mentioned this on here before. It's like, it's weird to kind of pinpoint the ethics and morality of some characters within wrestling, because foundationally your career trajectory and everything about what you do is based on violence.
Yeah.
It's the violence of wrestling and fighting other people for a living. That's the basis of it. You solve all of your problems with wrestling.
That's it.
From minor disputes of spilled coffee all the way up to custody battles. I mean,
and it just makes.
So when that happens, it's like when that setup happens, it's like, I don't know if I say Riddle is the one being picked on here. It's like,
yeah, every time Riddle comes into a backstage promo, I start thinking about hitting that fat kid with a shovel all over again.
Now it's like, he's just this weird guy who just comes up to people, and it's like he's like the weird guy on a subway or something like that, like the weird guy. Like there's only one, but but he's just like, he's the guy, or on a bus. It's just like he just all of a sudden starts.
You know what you should do, and
yeah, it's like all of a sudden he's talking to you. And it's like, I just want to get home, and I really don't want you to know where that is.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have. Oh yes, this is
yes,
the one. The match itself I don't really understand, but it was fun. Whatever.
The Nigerian drum match.
The Nigerian.
How
drum
could you
match.
not figure it out? Now,
Yeah, there were drums all over. I don't know what I was expecting, but
It's a Nigerian drum match between Big E and Apollo Crews, where you spend a good third of the time hitting each other with kendo sticks.
yeah.
And a gong. There was a gong.
We used the gong. We started things out with the gong.
I think Apollo got thrown toward the drums at some point.
Yeah, I think some of them fell over on him, but the drums were not played. They weren't used. Having said all that, I really did enjoy the match.
Oh, it was. It was a good match. I don't know why we needed the Nigerian drum window dressing, but
No.
outside of that, it was a fun, good match.
Yeah.
Those guys delivered.
Yeah, that's another one that's very much worth watching, especially because of the go home, because Big E's about to clinch it. And here comes Daba Kato,
Yes.
who you may remember from Raw Underground.
Or who I'm going to currently refer to as the drum major because of how he's dressed.
Yeah. Now, he's had a small push because, it's, I think the 6 episodes that he was in Raw Underground, I don't think, may not even been that many, but he pretty much dominated in there. Even had a little back and forth, had a fight with Braun Strowman when Braun Strowman wasn't in trouble.
Right.
So there you go.
I'm conflicted about the ending because, well, one, of course, I wanted Big E to win, but I understand it's like it gets him the win without Big E looking weak.
It does,
and it frees Big E to hopefully make a move upward.
but that's what I like about this.
I know.
First of
And
all,
that's what I'm hoping from it.
a lot of people frown on this gimmick. I love this gimmick.
I think
this is the first thing that Apollo Crews has ever done that has gotten him some pub.
Yeah,
and if it's working, then by God, use it.
It's getting there, and it's just he's super close to really being able to run on all cylinders with it.
Yeah,
but he's like a hair's breadth away from it being perfect.
Yeah, it's
going great, and now he's got muscle.
I do wish that he wouldn't have started the accent in the middle of a promo. I wish he wouldn't have done that.
But I get that though.
Right? I mean, when are you going to do it?
Because he's like, I'm embracing my roots, and it's like I am so all about my heritage now that I there's the accent. I got to be all about it.
Right. And why not? Yeah.
It's like if I don't know, if someone from like the Midwest or the North, they rediscovered their Southern roots and they start slapping on the Southern accent, and it's kind of god awful, but it's like you get it.
And in reality, I have seen people do that.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here in the South.
Yep. And
I have watched Northerners come down here and tell me, it was like, hey, my grandmother was from Georgia, and let me tell you something, boy. And they just start into it. And
that's even funnier to me, considering I'm born and raised here, and if you can hear it if you hear a Southern accent in my voice, congrats, because it often doesn't come through for me unless I get worked up.
Well, I can't hear it.
Yeah,
but I'm sure if somebody up north or from California probably.
If I went to a different region, it'd probably be way more obvious.
Yeah.
But
there's no denying mine.
For the most part, yeah. Yours is good though. I like yours a lot. It's not. There are some people, and it's not their fault, but it's just there's some people who are natural Southerners, and when they talk, you would think their accent's fake.
Right. Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, one of my very best friends, very Southern family. You hear his mom and dad talk. Like it's just what you would think of stereotypical Southern drawl. Mm-hmm. He has no Southern accent.
Right.
He's got this rich, almost newscaster-esque baritone. And
you see, and it's just we have. There's a lot of different people down here, basically.
Yeah. But I love that. It's like that. I think that's what makes it an extra good heel gimmick now. Is that he's like he's so about this that I'm gonna even change my speech patterns.
Yeah. And now he's got backup, and he also has an Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, he does.
Boom shakalaka. Good on him. And I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Finally, he's got that IC belt arguably the most prestigious of the secondary titles.
I would say
so. Again, I feel like it matters now.
Can I just say, every time someone calls the Intercontinental title the IC belt, I always have a lapse for saying where's the IC belt.
Yeah. You think it should be red and white with a little polar bear on it.
I just think it's probably very cold to the touch. It's just, and then if you lick your finger, it'll get stuck to it.
Yeah, triple dog dagger.
Someone pointed out, weirdly enough, on Twitter, I didn't think about it till he said so. New Day and Big E lost their matches in the same way, but for different reasons.
Yeah, they did.
New Day lost it to a big man to make the big man look stronger. Big E lost his to make sure he didn't look less strong.
Right.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it is. The only thing is, I don't know what's left for the New Day. What are they, 7, 8, 9-time tag team champions now? How many times are we going to do this?
Let's go double digits. I like them.
I like them too, but I mean, there's not much left for them to do here.
There's not much for them to do solo, and there's not. I think they're one of the few reasons the tag division is still what it is.
Well, see, and this is the thing. I think that Xavier Woods is title worthy.
He is.
I think he's world title. I don't think Big E's quite ready. I think he's worth contention. I don't think he's ready to wear him.
I think Xavier should pursue something with Kofi in his corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, there's your manager right there. Kofi's getting old. Maybe it's time to retire, and who better to have?
He's an ex-world champion. You want that in your corner?
Yeah, absolutely. He can talk. Why not, man? Why not? Maybe this is our manager for Cesaro. Who knows?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him return the favor because while Xavier was injured for so long, he was the hype man and manager for them, basically.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, right on. Moving into our next match. Boy, this has got a lot of controversy, and I don't really understand why. But,
it does.
Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Same type of controversy that we have with Sasha and Belair. People are calling bullshit. I think it's because people love Asuka so much.
Well, I love Asuka too, but that was a great match, and the ending was fine with me. I remember saying when we were watching, it's like, I would love Asuka to win, but either of those two winning was never a bad outcome.
I mean, people, and it just makes me wonder sometimes. It's like, what match are you guys watching? Because people said, it's like, Rhea Ripley can't work.
What? Based on what?
That's what I want to know.
She was
and that's what I asked on this.
She was just on WrestleMania last year, wasn't it? Against Charlotte.
She
can work. They put her in WrestleMania twice.
They had a great match.
Yes.
And they had an even better match, in my opinion, last Sunday. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. Those guys tore down the house. They were saying nobody was into this match. I was like, the crowd was electric. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This was a good match.
It was a very good match, yeah.
And then there's people just being marks about it. There's like, Ripley's a poser. She's not in. She comes out to My Brutality, and I'll be honest, I'd never heard of that song. That group.
Well, the live performance was terrible.
It was bad. It wasn't good.
Her theme is fine, but that live performance was not good. But I don't get it because it's people who just don't see her, and it's just like, I don't watch NXT or anything like that, but I can I recognize good.
Yeah,
it's good talent.
The look is great.
Yeah.
The presentation and gimmick is strong.
Right.
She is dominant in the ring, not just by size, by ability to work. What's the problem here? And let's remember, we haven't done anything. Asuka has been on a shelf for 7 months. She has not done a damn thing. A tag match every once in a while. I think one time in December,
And that's not
she
her
was on
fault.
the-
That's just them not having enough for her to do.
right. She did a playground with Alexa Bliss
Right.
thing, and it was weird, and it didn't make sense. Why'd they have Asuka do it? She's a world champion, and the whole thing was just weird. And so, look, if you're not going to use her, lose her. So, I mean,
Give her a chance to work something back up
Yeah.
and then come back. Yeah.
you know, if you truly don't have anything for her, send her back down to NXT. They will welcome her with open arms.
Oh, sure.
And she'll be put over like the champion that we all know she can be. Mm-hmm. This match I thought was fantastic.
It was a great time.
We have a new Raw Women's Champion in Rhea Ripley, and I gave this 3.5 Meltzers. What say you, Mr. Barnes?
That was good. I mean, it was. I think Bianca and Sasha really took it in terms of the women's matches, but they were a close second.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, here we are. Mm-hmm. Main event.
Yes.
So we have the head of the table, Roman Reigns, and his Universal title.
Yeah.
We have Daniel Bryan, and we have Edge, who got weird the Monday on the Go Home show week of, and kind of felt like he was going heel. It was weird.
Well, he mad.
So let's talk about this.
Okay.
You had something you wanted to say about this
Well,
match.
it has to do with the ending, but
Okay.
because
We
the
can skip all the way to the ending because
the match itself was good.
I was going to say the notes that I have on this. This is Roman's best match that I have ever seen him in.
Yes, it has one of the best spots that I've ever seen Roman a part of, and that was it Edge that came in with the chair that broke?
It was
Okay.
because he
Edge-
was going to do the
Yeah, well, they
Concerto.
what he ended up doing. Well, no, I think it was before. Well, it was before concertos. Concertos did happen, but this was before that, where he grabs that little piece of the leg that broke off, and puts Roman in the execution, not at the execution, but his in a submission. And
yeah.
and he jams that bit of chair leg into Roman's mouth like a horse bit, like a bit. Yanks back on it, and Roman is forced to emote for the first time, as you see his eyes go dinner plate wide,
Right.
and he's trying. It's like he's kind of somewhere between screaming and whatever, and then Daniel Bryan joins in by putting on the yes lock, and they're both cranking back at the same time on him.
Oh yeah,
And
this was after the Concerto.
And this was wide-eyed. It was the most. I said it then. I'll say it now. The most I've seen him emote.
Yeah, absolutely. Roman did really, really good.
Yes.
Now, again, now some people are upset about it because they said, "Well, you just buried Daniel Bryan and Edge."
I won't say buried, but go ahead.
Now, had this been a regular pay-per-view, I probably still wouldn't have agreed with you, but I would have understood.
Yes.
Here's the thing. We're making Roman look dominant. Let's look at it this way. Daniel Bryan, this is his last year here.
Yeah, I was about to say this. I mean, they're in the
His
phase.
contract's coming up.
They're in the phase of their careers where it's etiquette. It's for the common good for them to be putting over other people.
Yeah.
To make sure that to make you do it you do that kind of thing on your way out to make
Sure.
to make the business keep looking strong.
Yeah.
So you have stars in place.
And let's be honest, there is no way that a 50-year-old anybody,
Right.
I don't care what shape they're in, should be world champion of any federation,
Sure.
barring it's the old man's league.
Right.
I don't want to see it, and I don't think anybody else does. And yeah, I'm talking about Edge, and I'm also talking about Goldberg, and I'm talking about just anybody that's over the age of 50. Right. I don't want to see it. Nobody else wants to see it. WrestleMania is for young stars. So if you wanted to see Edge retake the title, I'm sorry about your luck, kids, but put this on a t-shirt too. 50-year-old men shouldn't have a title.
And also
other than Mr.
And also, I think, it's just a matter of Daniel Bryan and Edge have both also done enough that the ending of this match isn't going to tarnish that.
No, yeah, they can't be beaten, especially Daniel Bryan and Edge.
This does not take away any of the amazing things they've already accomplished, including coming back from career-ending threats.
Absolutely, those two, Edge is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan will be a Hall of Famer. At this point, you can't kill him now.
Right.
He's like Ric Flair. If Ric Flair was in shape and still in the ring, he can do as many jobs as you want him to. You can't kill him. You can't bury him.
Right.
He's a legend, and you can't kill legends. I know Randy Orton would disagree, but no, that's why you got the pin like that. You saw the domination of him dragging another lifeless body on top for a solid, clean, dominant win.
Right.
Just further putting over that he is the most dominant force in the WWE, which arguably we got that.
It's been established.
We established that. I get it. Still, we want to drive the point home, and I understand that too. Having said all that, it was a shit ending.
It was.
It took too long because Roman doesn't know how to get there fast enough. He doesn't know how to set up fast enough.
So, here's where my problem starts.
Please.
So, who is the credible challenger now?
Mm-hmm.
Who is someone you can walk in, who can walk in and say, I'm coming to take your title, and I might believe it. Who is enough to worry Roman to start showing cracks in the armor? When does Jey Uso finally stop being a fucking presence? Because I get why he keeps showing up, but they keep having to find ways to excuse it, and that also makes your dominant. I mean, someone should be hammering home that Jey Uso keeps interfering, and that's what's. But they don't. They just let it stand that it's Roman alone. He's definitely doing it all by himself. Who is gonna get set up to make me go, well, he definitely has a chance of winning.
Now, there is I think you can make a very strong point. Now, I realize what I just said 20 minutes ago, and I'm about to contradict what I just said.
Cut to your chase. Go ahead.
I think if you do it right, Big E can show the cracks in the armor.
Sure, and I would want to believe that too. I don't believe they'd handle it right.
God, no. That's their biggest problem is them handling the shit.
It also requires Roman Reigns to show a modicum of acting talent and be actually possibly visibly afraid of the threat in front of him.
You're right. Oh, boy.
And he can't. And I'm glad there are people who are happy out there, but also who like the Roman's winning and being dominant. Cool. And I'm glad he's your favorite guy. But you should also understand from a storytelling standpoint, this is shit.
Yeah.
Guess what? You've made him look too hard to take down for too long. It's going too long.
Yeah.
And no one. And when they finally do it, because they'll have to do it at some point. When they finally do it, no one's going to be happy.
Well, I think you're going to have the sympathetic baby face. We got to have.
You have to.
You have to have Kofi Mania. again. Now, obviously, it ain't going to be Kofi, but it needs to be somebody like Kofi. Right now, Cesaro has got the sympathy. If we push him slowly, listen to me, Bruce Pritchard, slowly, then we can create enough of drama in Cesaro to get people behind it.
But I get the feeling. I get the feeling. No matter who it is, what they're gonna do is they're gonna give Roman a definitive win, and then have nowhere to go, because it's like what needs to happen is, okay, whoever he's facing shouldn't win the first time or two. It should be inconclusive.
You're right.
It should be like a big question mark. Wait, can Roman actually put this person away? And on top of this, it's not just this current storyline. It's also taking into account the fact of every other accolade they've already put on him.
True. Add
that to this. Where do we're heading straight into a corner, because there's going to be no one, quote unquote, good enough to make this work.
I'll tell you somebody else that we could do if we play our P's and Q's right. Well, if they play their P's and Q's right.
Right.
Strowman's never beaten him.
True.
They've had wars, and there's never been a definitive there's never been a 3 count from either one in the ring. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I think Roman has beaten him.
Of course.
But there's always some type of weirdness.
It's the Ultimate Warrior problem. Ultimate Warrior took the title from Hogan at WrestleMania, and who was there for him to be a credible challenger?
Right. Hogan has already beaten everybody.
Yeah. And they didn't set anybody up for Warrior to worry about.
Yeah. It's the rule of wrestling, and I don't feel like anybody's told the writers this. If you have a heel champion and you want to keep them, then you have to have a plethora of good, young, hard-hitting babyface to chase that title.
I'm so glad they're all having fun writing Samoan Walter White, but they also need to have an actual...
I'm sorry, please continue.
I'm so glad they're having fun with their villain protagonist, but they need good guys in there.
Yeah, and look,
to step up.
They're trying to make him Steve Austin, and the reality of it's never going to happen.
No.
He doesn't have the it factor. He's got the look. He's got the look. That's it.
Yeah.
He's got Paul Heyman.
No.
That's where it ends. He's got somebody to talk for him, and he's got a good look.
Which, I got to jump back into the match for 1 second. When Jey Uso got taken out during the match, and Paul Heyman's looking on, he looks so fake concerned.
He did.
He's standing there like, oh no, what happened?
It's honestly, it does make you wonder if Paul Heyman is getting bored with this.
It kind of looks like he is, and I hope that it means in a storyline way where it looks like he's done with Roman shit.
Which
it kind of looks like, honestly.
If that's true,
yeah,
you know what this could possibly mean. There is somebody.
You shut your mouth.
That could.
No.
Possibly.
That's not worth it. That's not
that title.
Worth it.
He was the reigning...
Shut up.
undisputed, defending Universal Champion. The one that beat the one in WrestleMania 21.
Yes, but he didn't retire him like Roman did. Well, retired.
Huge quotation fingers.
He's never going to not pick up the phone when Vince calls.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, shut up.
I'm just saying.
I know
that rumor is abound. Everybody wants that to happen.
Yeah, well, people are stupid. I didn't like him any better.
How about that for a Sophie's choice? What do you like? Who would you rather have here? Would you rather have Roman, or would you rather have Lesnar?
I mean, Brock's kind of fun when he decides to give a shit.
You're right. It's honestly, it's a better choice.
I mean, it's been a while.
And Brock is a little more legitimate. He doesn't have to talk.
No.
You honestly believe he doesn't like me because he doesn't. He wants my money, and that's all. The gimmick's real.
Yeah. I just this story, for as many chapters as it's gone on, hasn't. It's just meandering. It's made no significant changes to the plot.
Right. And speaking of meandering, that is why I have given this match a 3 Meltzers.
Okay.
Great match, shitty ending.
Yeah.
3 Meltzers. Overall, I feel like WrestleMania was a success.
It was.
Especially with our live audience. I gave it 3.5 Meltzers.
Yep.
I was very close, and I debated about it a while about giving it 4 Meltzers.
Mm-hmm.
Too many shitty matches, too many bad endings for me to go 4.
Yeah, and I think night 1 definitely beat night 2 overall.
Yeah,
Overall,
because we were looking at night 1 and we weren't impressed with what we saw until we actually saw it.
Yeah.
And night 1 delivered, night 2 not so much. Well, let's take you to our awards for the evening of WrestleMania.
1 sec. Sorry.
Wow, cheap drugs.
Kinda, yeah.
So, like I said, I gave the entire pay-per-view 3.5. My MVP for the evening is once again gonna be Cesaro.
It was an MVP?
What's that?
I said it was an MVP?
I see you make that joke every time.
Do I? I don't recall
Yes.
doing it last time.
Now, let me go to you, Mr. Fashion Plate. What do you have for best dressed on both nights? Or you can do separate, however you want to do it.
I'll go 1. I think Sasha Banks.
Sasha did look great.
She looked
man.
great. She had the green and blue, and she had highlighted her hair. Just overall, I think she had the best overall.
Yeah, well said. She went to somebody in particular, and I read that briefly. I don't care about hair or makeup, but I saw that, and yeah, she had that done special in tribute for something, and I don't remember what it was, but yeah, she looked fantastic.
It did, yeah.
Now, what about worst dressed?
Oh, Roman, because he was just wearing his business pants.
Yeah, the old BDUs again. He has promised us that the look was going to change, the music was going to change. Nothing has changed, and we were supposed to be there by WrestleMania. David Hensley, now your best performance of the 2 nights.
Well, I didn't expect this to be a controversial opinion when I picked it, but apparently it is. I'm going with for best. I'm going with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that to be controversial either.
that's weird. Yeah,
but that's me apparently.
Yeah,
I'm always going for the controversy.
And as much as you hate women, you would think.
Yeah, that's me too. I hate women.
Well, I've heard you talk about Bailey, and it's.
Yes, I hate that woman.
I'm sorry.
I don't even hate Bailey. I hated heel Bailey.
Right. No.
Yeah.
you say that past tense like it's not.
I
Still
know. I know. She's gonna piss me off again next pay-per-view. I just know it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So, what about worst performance?
Oh, Logan Paul. On principle.
Yeah.
Just on principle.
I'm not going to even try to argue that because, granted, he didn't do anything wrong, but just his presence.
Yeah.
I understand we're doing this for clicks, but It's Florida. That's the best we got.
And at that point, you'd already done it.
They made
with Bad Bunny.
Yeah, they'd made absolutely sure to mention that Logan Paul has 23 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. Do you think that helped us any?
No.
Like, did that help WWE?
Going by the crowd, no.
Like, did any Logan Paul fans go, ooh, he's going to be at WrestleMania. You can watch this on Peacock. Well, shiver me timbers, let me just jump in here. Do you think that happened?
No, because what they probably did was they either watched the whoever ripped the SmackDown broadcast he was on. They probably put that up on YouTube and checked that out there. If they didn't already have Peacock, I don't see any of his fans being like the crossover type to be like, I got to get Peacock to watch it.
No, they're YouTube people, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
which makes them barely a people.
Right. Yeah.
Chris Barnes does not speak for Long Walk Podcast or Long Walk Productions.
We invite you to listen to This Is a Work that is on YouTube.
Yes. And to go through our backlog of older episodes, also on YouTube. And to explore some more of Long Walk Productions' original content on YouTube.
All in all, I had a really great 2-night. It was, last year, that 2-night event was...
It was tough.
It was... I don't want to say it was bad, but it kind of was. I mean, comparing live crowd to just a
empty
silent arena. It was
because they didn't even have the Titantrons then, or the Jumbotrons, whatever the hell they're calling them.
Boy, that was that was tough. So this was so much better, so refreshing, and to hear the crowd, giving it to McMahon straight, what they like, what they don't like, great stuff. What do you say we take it home?
I just imagine McMahon and like Gorilla. I was like, oh right, they have opinions.
Even when he started out the show, when McMahon comes out there and says, "Well, we've had a very trying year in this unpredictable climate, and the one thing that we needed was you," he sounds so insincere now. It's like you don't believe him anymore, right?
He should be running for office.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Linda worked for the Trump administration.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, Hensley, you got anything else?
Well, coming up next week, we're going to be diving back into our Kevin Smith discussion with the film Dogma. And then the week after that, we're going to continue it by talking about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Love Dogma, my favorite one.
If you are also an NXT fan, you can check out the episode of This Is a Takeover that just came out with Shelby Ray Patterson and Gina Belmont about NXT Stand and Deliver.
Ooh, how'd that go?
It was really good.
Right on.
I know nothing about NXT, though, so I pay less attention to what they're saying than I do during this.
Right on. See, I watched Stand and Deliver the other night. It was a damn good show.
That's what they said. So, Doggz, if people want to follow you online or reach out to you online, where can they do that at?
Well, you can get me at David 2 Dogs Hayes on Twitter, David 2 Dogs Hayes on Instagram. And I might be back on Facebook eventually, but for right now,
Why would you do that to yourself?
I'm a glutton for punishment,
Bad
and
enough you're on Twitter.
I like doing things that hurt me.
You're a wrestling fan, so yes, you are a masochist.
Yeah.
Chris, if people want to reach out to you online?
Well, anyone has any opinions about the things I've said and how much they hate it, my Twitter handle is @Immortal2Dogs with a Z.
How dare you? And that's my Twitter handle.
And when that one blocks you, you can find me at Chris the OK.
Very nice. And you can find me on Instagram at DB Hensley. Now I have to remember what Gina said last night because they started a they started a
I got it.
Twitter account.
This is a takeover.
Yeah, for This Is a Takeover.
It's actually very easy to remember. It's at @this_pod.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, @this_pod on Twitter to follow them, and they're going to be promoting some of our the rest of the shows on this network as well.
Right on.
All right.
Outstanding. Well, for David Hensley and Chris the Fashion Plate Barnes. This is David Two Dog Hayes saying, if you got out of bed today and you had a job to go to and you had somebody that cares about you when you get back home, folks, this match is over and you just won via pinfall. Thank you very much for listening to This Is a Work.
Thank you, listeners, and as always, if you enjoyed this show, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening on.
WrestleMania Backlash. What kind of crap is that?